Anchor Brewery, Christmas beer.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one here today from my favourite American brewer, and that is the Anchor Brewing Company from San Francisco, no less, in sunny California, the Sunshine State, with the most draconian laws ever. You wouldn't believe, I was in San Francisco, I went to a place called Oakland, and I was talking to a dealer owner at Harley Davidson, and he was telling me how strict they are on the exhaust pipes that they have to sell, the aftermarket pipes. They have to conform to Californian regulations, and honestly, what a fucking minefield that is. It is just an exercise in extortion. It's just trying to get money out of people. Honestly, call it the land of the free. I'm not knocking it, it's a great country, but the land of the free, it is not. You have got to pay for a lot of stuff. Anyway, let's get back to the beer. This is from the Anchor Brewery, and as I say, they are one of my favourites. And when I was in California a couple of years ago, and specifically San Francisco, and I'm sure I went past this brewery, and I never went in, and I really am gutted. But there we are. Spilt milk, as they say. This is their Christmas beer, and this is the 2020 Christmas beer. Now, why is the year important? Well, the recipe for this changes every year, and every year the recipe is a secret. They do not give you any information whatsoever, and it's specifically kept secret. You've just got to guess what the flavours are. Now that should be a challenge for me, but what I do like about Anchor is the other beers that they do. I've tried quite a few of their beers, and they're all on the channel. Look it up. The Anchor Steam Brewery was the Anchor Steam beer. Sorry, Anchor Steam Brewery, idiot. The Anchor Steam beer is really nice, and so is the porter that they did. The lager was really good. The porter was really good as well. So I suggest, if you can get hold of them, check them out. They're really good. This one, never tried it before. Recipe changes every year. So if you're watching this in 2021 or later, it's probably not going to taste like this. So I should have probably reviewed this a little bit earlier, but we are where we are now. Anyway, a quick word about Anchor Brewing. They are from, as I said, San Francisco. They have been going since 1896. Recently taken over by Sapporo. Do you remember them? The Japanese brewing company. I reviewed some of their beers on the channel. The lager, not so good. The black lager, really good. If you can get hold of that, get some. But yeah, they've been taken over by that lot. But they've made a point of saying, we're not going to interfere with anything you're doing already. We're just going to keep the traditions. We're just going to try and expand the brand, if you know what I mean. Not sure where this is brewed. I don't know whether this is... it is. Brewed and bottled by Anchor Brewing Company in San Francisco. Imported from the USA by James Clay. Okay, and that's in the UK. So this is actually brewed in the United States, which is really good. It's a 355ml bottle as well, and that is if I can get this right, half an imperial pint, I think. I don't know. It's an American measurement. Half a quart or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's get this checked out. Right, Christmas beer, 355ml bottle, as I just said, 7% ABV. This, obviously, as I mentioned, it changes every year. It's been going 46 years, since 1975, and this is the 2020 edition. The label on this is hand-drawn. All their labels are hand-drawn for the Christmas beers, and it's the first time that they've actually used 3 trees in it. Normally there's just one big Christmas tree, but I think they've done that to symbolise, you know, COVID coming together, etc., etc. But this is only brewed between, or it's only available between November and January. So it's a very, very short window to get hold of this beer, and I think I was quite lucky in getting hold of it. Now, if you're wondering why I'm looking around, I'm just trying. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to find my bottle opener. There it is. There. But I've got Merry Christmas, Happy New Year on the label. Can you see the label? The Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. And to be honest, I cannot fucking wait for this year to end, because it is a fucking pile of shit. 2020 will go down as one of the worst years in recent history. Obviously, there's been worse years for other people, but I think collectively for everyone, this is a bad one. Anyway, let's think positive. Let's get this beer checked out. Right, use opener. Of course, yeah, they say use opener because a lot of these are screw off caps. So I'm going to open this with the cap lifter. And there is the cap. Anchor on a red background, gold anchor on a red background. What are we getting in the glass? Well, this is supposed to be drunk out of a tulip glass, but this is the nearest I've got to one of them. I should really get hold of one of them, but oh well, not today. Now that actually looks like a porter. Yeah, you could be mistaken for thinking that's a porter. What are we getting on those? Wow, tons of aroma. The first thing that hits me is dried fruit. Absolutely massive dark dried fruit. Oh, and like a sweet coffee aroma. Now, oh, is that licorice as well? Wow, this is really complex. I'm going to have to calm the fuck down and see if I can get all these flavours. There's spice on there, like Christmas spice, like mace, very, very slight, what I perceive as being ginger. Definitely getting that coffee come through now. Very, very subtle ethanol on there as well, but I am getting that. I'm just wondering whether this is, it really does look like a porter or a stout of some description, but it's very fruity. Wow, and there's even more sweet fruit coming through now, like raisins. But there's like a roasted malt on this as well. This aroma is really complex and interesting. Let's see what the flavour's like. Bottoms up. That's a little bit weird. I will say the viscosity on this as well. If you're wondering what the viscosity, it's the gravity, if you like, or the thickness, if you like. That's quite big on this, like a good double stout, you know. I'm smelling. There's like a, I don't know whether it's licorice or, but there's a slight medicinal smell to it as well. Like, is it balsam? Don't know, but the flavour's not that big, to be honest. Let me, or either there's too much and I just can't take it all in. Let me try again. Roasted malt, slight coffee, dark chocolate, bitter dark chocolate, a lot of dark fruit. Now, initially you'd think this was a stout or a porter with that roasted, bitter, coffee type flavour, but there was a ton of dark fruit on top of that, and some of it's sweet as well, like raisins. plum, dates, sultanas, that sort of, you know, Christmassy type fruit. There's a little bit of spice on this too. Which is like either a cinnamon or a ginger. I can't work it out. Very subtle. Yeah, it's more, I think it's more cinnamon. Certainly on the finish, I'm getting very, very slight notes of cinnamon on that. It's quite nice. But I'll tell you what, most of all, that is super smooth and very drinkable. And you would not think that that is 7%, because there's no trace of warming spirit alcohol on this at all. Now, I could get very, very subtle hints of ethanol, but I'm not getting that on the flavour. And it's quite nice, I have to say. No complaints about that whatsoever. They're calling it a Christmas beer. Now, I'd be hard pushed to call that a Christmas beer. That to me is like a very fruity stout. It's got the body of a stout, you know, like a real big flavoured stout. And it's one of them beers that I'm looking at and I'm thinking, well, there's no real description of it. It's just a Christmas beer, so it really is open to interpretation. But for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call that a stout. It does taste like a very interesting stout, I will say that, and very drinkable too. But it's sort of hovering between a stout and an old ale, if you know what I mean. But an old ale, a very fruity, dark fruit type old ale. But it's nice, I have to say. There's, you know, regardless of what it is, I know, you know, trying to categorise beer, it should be quite easy, but this is a bit out of the ordinary. I like it. That's not bad. So what's the verdict on Anchor Brewing Company Christmas beer? Well, that is not bad. Very drinkable, lovely mouthfeel, interesting flavours. It was putting you in mind of a stout, but there's a lot of dark fruit on there. No hint of the ethanol, even being 7%, you're not really getting that at all, which makes it drinkable. If you like stouts, you're going to love that. If you like porters, you're going to love it as well. I can't really complain. I really can't find fault with it. There's, if anything, the aroma promised a lot, but the flavour didn't deliver. But nevertheless, there is still some flavour on it. I mean, the aromas were massive, but the flavours just, they were a bit wishy-washy. They were there, but they weren't big and bold and characteristic. But having said that, that makes for a very, very nice beer. So I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. I'm definitely going to recommend it. I think that's the Kraken at the door. I'm definitely going to recommend it, and it's going to change next year. So if you're seeing this in 2020, what you're drinking in 2021 is going to be completely different. So bear that in mind. That's going to be an 8, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm definitely going to recommend it, and if you can get hold of it, be quick, because this ain't going to be available for long. All right? So there you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.